All right, let's talk sports. We all love them, right? But sometimes finding the right words in English to talk about them, well, it can be a little tricky. But don't you worry, because we're about to fix that. In the next few minutes, we are going to get you sounding like a total pro. Ready? Let's jump right in. Okay, so let's start with a classic. Do you play yoga or do you do yoga? It seems like such a simple question, doesn't it? But honestly, this is one of those things that trips up so many people. Is it do? Is it play? Maybe it's go? Well, stick around because we're going to clear this up for good. You'll know exactly which one to use every single time. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to start with the absolute foundation, the first big rule. Do, play, or go. You know, it's kind of amazing, but pretty much everything comes down to just these three verbs. Do, play, and go. That's it. The whole secret is just figuring out which type of activity matches up with which verb, and once you crack that code, you are golden. And here it is, the whole cheat sheet right here. Let's walk through it. First up, do. We use do for individual activities. You know, non-team sports where it's all about you. So that's why you do yoga, or do gymnastics, or do judo. Makes sense, right? Okay, next is play. This one's easy. Think team sports, games with a ball, or really any competitive game. That's why we play football, play rugby, play golf, even play chess. And finally, my personal favorite because it's so easy to remember, go. If the activity ends in ing, you probably use go. You go skiing, go swimming, go cycling. See? It's a pretty clear pattern when you see it all laid out like this. Okay, so that seems pretty straightforward. But, you know, English loves its little exceptions and common mistakes, right? So what are the big traps people fall into? Well, the good news is once you know what they are, they're super easy to avoid. All right, here's probably the biggest one. See that word make? Just try to avoid it when you're talking about sports. It's a huge red flag. For example, you don't make exercises, you do exercises. You don't do games, you play games. It's these little switches that make a massive difference in how natural you sound. So you do activities, you play sports, you go skiing, but you almost never make them. Now, here's a little secret that'll really level up your vocabulary. We all know the word practice, right? But there's another word, train, that's even better in certain situations. You see, you can practice something just to get better at it. But when you're working towards a specific goal, like you're getting ready for a big competition or a marathon, that's when you're training. A basketball player might practice their free throws, sure, but they are training for the championship game. See the difference? It's all about having a specific goal in mind. Okay, so we've got our basic verbs down. Now, let's get to the fun part. The drama, the action, the thrill of competition. They say winning isn't everything. And maybe that's true. But the words we use to talk about winning, losing, and all the drama in between, oh, that's important stuff. It's the language that really captures the story of the game. Let's dive in. I really like this because it feels like a story, right? The athlete's journey. It all starts when they enter a competition. And hey, maybe they don't win, but if they tried their absolute hardest, we can say they put up a good fight. That's a great phrase. Then there's that amazing feeling of achieving a personal best, beating your own previous record. And of course, the absolute pinnacle, the dream for every athlete, to set a new world record. Just amazing. But let's be honest, sports can be brutal. You can't always win. So what do you say when it was a real nail-biter, a super close game that could have gone either way? This is the phrase you're looking for. They were narrowly defeated, or narrowly beaten. It just perfectly captures that feeling of losing by the tiniest little margin, so close you could taste it. And this quote, wow, it just hits you, right? We've all seen a game like this. You're watching, and you just feel like one team or one player deserves to win. They played better, they wanted it more, but somehow they get narrowly defeated. That's the real drama of sports right there. Okay, we do have to touch on a more serious side of competition, though. Unfortunately, some athletes try to get an unfair advantage by taking drugs to enhance their performance. Of course, if they're caught, they'll fail a drugs test. It's a really important issue in the sports world today. All right, so we've learned a bunch of new words and phrases. Let's put it all into practice with a deep dive into probably the most popular sport on the planet, football. First things first, a super basic but really critical idea in team sports. You've got your home matches, which are played on your team's own turf, their home ground. And then you have away matches, where you have to travel to the opponent's stadium. And let me tell you, any sports fan will tell you that home field advantage is a real thing. It can totally change the outcome of a game. So let's picture the action on the field. A player on defense needs to get the ball back, so what do? They tackle the opponent. If they do it right, boom, their team takes possession of the ball. And now they're on the attack. The goal is simple, right? Get that ball down the field and score a goal. That's how you get into a winning position. But what if that tackle wasn't so clean? What if it was illegal? Well, that, my friends, is a foul. You'll hear that sharp blast from the referee's whistle, the game stops, and the other team gets a penalty, like a free kick. So you're watching the game, and one of the players looks exhausted, or maybe they're just not playing well. What can the coach do? They can bring on a substitute. This is a huge part of strategy. They swap out a player on the field for a fresh one from the bench. And sometimes that one change can completely flip the momentum of the entire game. Whew, we have covered a lot of ground today. So before we finish up, let's do a quick little vocabulary workout just to make sure everything we talked about really sinks in. So, if you remember anything, remember this. The big 3 verbs. Do for individual stuff, play for team and competitive games, and go for those ing activities. Got it? Then remember all that awesome competition language from entering a competition all the way to setting a world record. If you can do that, you'll be able to talk about pretty much any sport you want, just like a native speaker. So now it's over to you. I want you to think about your favorite sport. What is it? Basketball? Skiing? Maybe even darts? How would you start describing it now with all this new vocabulary? Go ahead, give it a shot. Thanks for hanging out with me today.